Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the arrival of the official party.
Please take your seats. Well, good afternoon. It's great to see everyone. General Voltel, Joe, thanks for joining us. And it's good to see some of the mighty SOCOM warriors here as well. We have a rare opportunity today and a very special treat, quite frankly. Many of us in this room have spent a good deal of time in Afghanistan. We've served and sacrificed alongside our Afghan brothers and sisters in arms, and together we've built a strong and capable security force, a force that is now widely considered to be the most respected institution in the country of Afghanistan. We have forged a strong bond, and in the coming months and years, we hope to continue to build upon our partnership. Afghanistan is an important country, and we value our relationships with its people and its leadership. And we're most fortunate to have with us here today one of those leaders and a good friend of both commands, Afghanistan's Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Abdullah. Now, Dr. Abdullah has spent most of his career in public service. As a young man, he recognized Afghanistan's potential, and most importantly, he saw the tremendous potential of its people, his fellow citizens. And he set out to make a difference, and he has made a difference. Indeed, he's made immeasurable contributions over the years, both as a medical doctor and while serving in influential roles in Afghanistan's government and advocating for international support and strong partnerships. A partnership like the one that exists today between our two countries. We are grateful to him and to the members of his team for making the trip down here to Tampa. And we look forward to hearing his thoughts on the way forward for Afghanistan as he and President Ghani work together to address tough challenges and to build upon the significant progress that has been achieved thus far. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a warm CENTCOM and SOCOM welcome to our very special guest, Afghanistan's Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Abdullah.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. What a great honor for me to be here amongst partners in CENTCOM and SOCOM who have helped Afghanistan a great deal in the past 14 years. General Austin, General Voltel, thank you for providing this unique opportunity for me to be here, to share my thoughts with you, but at the same time, to express our gratefulness and sense of appreciation, in appreciation of our leadership as well as our people, for the noble efforts of your servicemen and women in our country, contributions and sacrifices of your people. Honoring the sacrifices and the efforts that each one of you and your colleagues have made alongside the people of Afghanistan. I'm also here to thank the families of those servicemen and women which made these efforts and contributions possible. For a long time it was a desire with me to have the honor of visiting CENTCOM and SOCOM. And you have done a lot to our country and our people. General Votel, you mentioned 10th October 2001. Those were the days that we were in the resistance against the Taliban in Al-Qaeda. And we were waiting for you. We didn't know your names. We didn't have an idea how it was going to work. But we knew it will be a start of a unique partnership between the United States and the people of Afghanistan and the international community and the people of Afghanistan to deal with the challenge of our time, which is terrorism, which was terrorism in Al-Qaeda. It provided a unique opportunity for the people of Afghanistan. Before coming to the recent phase of our partnership, the past 14 years, there was another period as well that the United States, its people, stood by the people of Afghanistan. That was towards the end of the Cold War and our resistance against the Soviet Union. That was, I remember it as a pretty young doctor at that time. I had joined the resistance against the Soviets in 1985 as a medical doctor. The country was occupied by the Soviet Union. And the United States and free world helped Afghanistan and helped Mujahideen in resistance movement to be able to put an end to occupation and to strive for freedom. The occupation was over, but not the suffering of our people. And then came the surge of Taliban and Al-Qaeda. Late 90s, 95 until 2001, I was in the resistance against Taliban. So were some of our colleagues with me, those who were here or those who were with us within Afghanistan were our supporters. And that period, Afghanistan was resisting, the people of Afghanistan was putting a resistance towards Al-Qaeda and Taliban on its own until the tragic events of 2001, September 2001. Prior to September 11, we lost our resistance leader, late Ahmad Shah Massoud, which was the leader of the resistance against Taliban and Al-Qaeda, and had kept Taliban and other Al-Qaeda and other terrorist organizations at bay for quite some times. And he believed that once the threat is known to the world, then the whole world will join in help Afghanistan. That I had heard from him. But he was not alive to see this idea, materialization of this idea. But 2 days after his assassination by Al-Qaeda, we had the September 11th. A tragic event, nevertheless, but an eye-opener for all of us to see the threats and the challenges as they were, rather than see it as we would perceive them. And that was the start of a new era of partnership between Afghanistan and the United States. In Panjshir Valley, as the representatives of the resistance, we received the first members of Special Forces, United States Special Forces, in your intelligence communities. And then it led to the formation of the government, as well as the start of the campaign against terrorism in our part of the world. I am here to salute the entire CENTCOM community and SOCOM community, but in broader sense, servicemen and women and your people, your administration, your representatives for helping us in the past 14 years. When I say salams, many of you who have served in Afghanistan, you know what does that mean. I have brought salams from your partners in Afghanistan, soldiers, officers, that you have helped them throughout this entire past 14 years. Now, as a result of the efforts and contributions of your people, we have armed forces of over 300,000 forces. There were times that the National Army or National Police was just an idea. The 1st Battalion, when it was raised, when it was trained, right after getting the training, was deployed to the battlefield. Those were the circumstances in those early years. Today, General Austin, I want to thank you once again. You visited us in Kabul, and since the idea of President Ghani and myself visit to Washington was raised, I had raised one further idea as well with General Campbell, NATO commander in Afghanistan. And that was the idea of coming here in being for a few hours with you. We had fruitful discussions earlier, and my last comment to General Austin and General Votel was that I hope that my ideas about my assessment of regional situation and how we see it did not complicate it, the already complicated picture of the events in our part of the world. But as far as Afghanistan is concerned, with the support from the partners of Afghanistan, and with the sacrifices and dedication of our people, with the formation of the unity government, there are new hopes. The true spirit of partnership between Afghanistan and the United States has been revived. President Ghani and myself, in the entire leadership of our government, unity government, are appreciative of what you have been doing. At the same time, we are cognizant of the challenges that we are faced with. If it is the challenge of security, governance, rule of law, poverty, in all those areas that are priorities of our government, we are aware of it. And we have taken decisions in order to deal with these challenges. I think you have been, CENTCOM, the most significant command center. And Sometimes when I think about responsibilities and how you allocate the time, your time and your colleagues, to focus on the challenges that our world is faced with, I get confused. At the same time, I see that with dedication, with fortitude and foresight, with the will and determination, things have started changing in the positive direction. Certainly in Afghanistan, but it will start to change in the right direction in other parts of the world that you're dealing with them. Talking about your partners, ANSF, our special forces. We are proud of our special forces. I had heard the stories about them. I had met some of our service men in our special forces. But when I visited their center and when I was briefed about the type of missions that they have carried out and they are carrying out, days in and out in Afghanistan, truly we are proud of our forces, National Army, National Police, NDS, especially our special forces. I can only assume how much effort has been made. How many hundreds or thousands of hours is spent to raise a force of such a quality. And thank you, General Votel, for doing that. They are our forces as a whole, national security forces, have taken huge responsibilities on their shoulders. Combat operations ended December 2014. And Taliban, which we're hoping that 2014 will be the fall of the government of Afghanistan or the year of the fall of Afghanistan into their hands, they are disappointed. And they are being dealt with through our forces, nevertheless, with the support that we receive from our partners in the Resolute Support mission, which is important for us and also for stability and as far as our ability of our forces to deal with the challenges that they are faced with is concerned. I don't want those colleagues of mine which have helped me in preparing this statement to be crossed with me. From time to time I refer to the text, if you don't mind. Because all of us have long ways ahead of us and we need every one of these talented, young and relatively young, because I consider myself as relatively young, colleagues of mine for long times to come. And they were all keen to come here with me and to join me in saluting you and express our gratefulness to all of you. Apart from what I mentioned about our security forces, which in itself it is a sea change. Your efforts, your help has changed lives of the people of Afghanistan for better, created better environment for our people. If you compare today with the 2001, our economy is 5 times bigger than it was. health facilities are 600% more than it existed at that time. There are statistics. 70% of our people believe in capabilities of our forces today. Forces which were non-existent a few years ago. At the same time, 80% of our people want the cooperation from our international partners to continue until we completely stand on our own feet. And also, as a sign of a little bit of selfishness, 80% of people also support the unity government, which I'm chief executive. Security remains the main challenge for us, and during our visit to Washington, which I will elaborate a little bit about our meetings in Camp David in Washington, which will have an impact on the situation for the years to come. Security, economic revival, economic issues, regional cooperation. We have taken steps in these regards. And also we have made efforts in terms of reconciliation in our part. The year ahead of us will be a challenging year, but we believe and we trust that our forces will be able to deal with the challenges which are ahead of us. And hopefully our forces will continue to take initiatives in their own hands and continue to be in the offensive rather than staying in the defensive. This is a new development. I mentioned about the spirit of partnership which has been revived and re-energized since the formation of the unity government, but the recent visit also, it helped it quite a bit. At the same time, the spirit of working together between at different levels of our national army with your colleagues on the ground in Afghanistan at different levels. That's very unique. And also the level of coordination between our forces, police, army, and intelligence capabilities is unique at this stage. The Helmand operation was carried out in collaboration between National Army, National Police, and intelligence services, but at the same time, different corps commanders collaborating in order to liberate areas in Helmand that we were not, altogether, we were not able to liberate in the past for quite some years. Those were the areas which had remained under the Taliban control. These are positive developments. In our recent visit, we had one day extensive discussions in Camp David with the national security team of the administration, top national security team, and as well as relevant departments. Security situations were discussed, issues were discussed, regional economic cooperation, issues of governance, human rights, rule of law, and efforts of us in pursuit of reconciliation and peace were also discussed. Discussions were substantial. I can assure you quality discussions, and very honest exchange of views. We talked about our challenges as they were, and we also expressed our wishes, our needs, and expectations. And our US partners as well, they were also straightforward with us in terms of how to make it work better. Then we had the announcement by President Obama about maintaining the level of forces throughout 2015, which was one of our main demands, and we are grateful for that decision. The issue of budgetary support for our forces, the fact that the administration has asked for budget for 2017, we welcomed it very much. There were other areas of cooperation, including reviving the mechanisms of consultation between Pentagon and in our Ministry of Defense, which was there earlier, but in the past 3 years it was halted. It has been revived between the State Department and our Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Formation of a energy task force. All these measures were discussed. We also raised our issues in regards to the support of our national security forces, enablers, air support, medical evacuation, intelligence capabilities, and we asked for cooperation in that respect, so no gap is created as a result of the transition which has already taken place in the transition which will going to take place. Self-reliance is our goal. We are committed to this. But in between, we will continue to call on you based on the contributions that we have made in the past 14 years, in investment that we have made in our part of the world, in our country, and it's time for us to assume responsibilities more than what we had done in the past. In the unity government, which has the support of the majority of the people, is the best vehicle for this. Formation of the cabinet, major steps have been taken upon our return. The rest of the issues in terms of the cabinet will be addressed. Issues of priorities of governance, which is priorities of our people, will be addressed. Certain bold steps have been taken in order to deal with the issue of corruption in civilian as well as military institutions of us. These are crucial and critical, and we will make sure that we will not lose any opportunity to deal with it. How to prevent waste in our expenditure. It's important. We know, we are aware that the resources which will be available for us has to be used in the most effective manner, and we are committed to create an environment for it. There are efforts of forging better relations in our neighborhood. And there also you have been instrumental in facilitating the initial phase of it. There are more exchanges of visit, military to military, between Afghanistan and Pakistan than it has ever been. The recognition of the fact that the challenge is a common challenge. Terrorism and radicalism will not serve any country's interest, any nation's interest. And those of us who have suffered because of terrorism, who are victims of terrorist actions. There is every logic, there is every reason to join hands for sincere cooperation in order to be able to deal with these challenges. It's not just the issue of dealing with the challenges. The opportunities which are there, it's for all of us. It's not just for Afghanistan. Afghanistan is potentially rich country, natural resources, rare earth materials, energy, oil and gas. Our location, which provides connectivity between land masses, South Asia and Central Asia and beyond. These are all potentials. I hope and I'm sure with the will and determination of our people and with the continued support from our partners, we will be able to materialize the dreams of millions of Afghan men and women, young and old, our people all together for a stable Afghanistan, democratic Afghanistan, Afghanistan which has a functioning system, which lives in peace within and without, and contribute to stability, contribute to global peace, contribute to the betterment of life for its own people as well as for the people of our region. Once again, thank you, General Austin. Thank you, General Wurtel. I'd like to thank all of you for sharing your time with us, and thank you for all your efforts, for your support, and together we make sure that those evil forces will never be able to prevail. Thank you.
Well, Dr. Abdullah, thank you very much for those heartfelt and insightful words. We are indeed in the company of great men and women this afternoon, most of whom have served in your country and sacrificed greatly. Men and women from Central Command, Special Operations Command, and men and women from the coalition. And at this point, I would ask all of our coalition liaison officers to please stand. Thank you. Thank you. So it goes without saying that we don't do what we do because of promise of fanfare, reward, or even thanks. But the fact that you, as a leader of a country, senior leader of a country, came down to Tampa to say thank you to the men and women of Central Command and Special Operations Command is overwhelming. And again, we do what we do because of who we are. But the fact that you said thanks to these troops and to these civilians will leave an indelible mark on our memories forever, and we are grateful. So again, thanks for your commitment, thanks for your leadership of your country, and thanks for being a great teammate.
Ladies and gentlemen, remain standing for the departure of the official party.